Trump's gains with young people are so massive that Gen Z might as well be called Gen Trump. Data guru David Shore laid bare this stark reality in an interview with the New York Times' Ezra Klein last week that we've discussed a little bit on this show, but I wanted to go over it again because, man, are these numbers interesting. Shore walked Klein through the ramifications of his polling insights and voter analyses, which reveal a historically unprecedented rightward shift among young people, particularly young males. You can feel it in the air. Trump won voters under the age of 26. White women, white men, and black men in this demographic all leaned in Trump's direction. Only black women.
Okay, but that's during the election. Is that the case now? I don't think so. The polls actually show Trump is losing Gen Z.
Did not. The former president won 18-year-old non-white men outright. Think about that. That is amazing, given historical trends. Young people, Shore notes, appear to be, quote, the most conservative generation that we've experienced maybe in 50 to 60 years.
That's definitely misleading. Also, he's not taking into account voter suppression and how that it disproportionately impacts younger voters, and thinking about how many of those younger voters were probably going to vote for Kamala Harris because they lived in more urban areas, and that's where more of the suppression tends to happen. Madison, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, great examples.
The reasons for this are not hard to grasp. First and foremost, Trump and his surrogates have become masterful communicators on Gen Z's preferred media platforms, podcasts, social media, and especially TikTok. When Trump arrived on the political scene a decade ago, he was a figure of cable news and of reality TV. Those are boomer broadcasting platforms. Thus, it's no surprise that older voters were his key contingent. The 2024 Trump campaign correctly surmised it would need to reach voters who reside outside retirement communities. The long-form podcast appearances would play to Trump's strengths, and moreover, the key podcasting personalities, Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, others, have come to evince a right-wing sensibility, if not exactly conservative politics. Their vibe is barstool conservatism. That's a phrase coined by the writer Matthew Walter to describe an ethos that is a little bit culturally libertarian like me, i.e. you won't find much opposition to gay marriage and abortion in such circles, and yet decidedly Republican in that it is wholly opposed to the hectoring, self-righteous tone of elite progressivism. And that...
Yeah, so elite progressivism does tend to alienate people. Sometimes there is a certain snobbery that comes from people on the hard left, but at the same time, you do need to pay attention to policy, and you can't just say, oh, I don't like the way that leftists and elite progressives are talking to me, therefore I need to vote in the most conservative direction possible, especially if, as Robby says, you're not too concerned about same-sex marriage or abortion, you don't think that they're bad. If you think that same-sex marriage and abortion are good, you should vote Democratic because the Republican Party is waging war on those things. I mean, some of them even voted against the Respect for Marriage Act. Some of them advocate for a national abortion ban. You should not be voting for these people. You should not be flipping a coin on their leadership if you are against national abortion bans and if you support same-sex marriage. So no, do not get so mad about elite progressives, no matter how rude or snobby they are, such to the point that you cast your vote for Republicans and lunatics like Donald Trump.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the other piece of the puzzle. Democrats lack both an appealing messenger and an appealing message. In fact, they seem to have forgotten how to relate to young men at all. For all its current woes, the Democratic Party must blame its cultural gatekeepers, progressive activists, elite media, and the campus radicals who conquered higher education over the course of the 2010s. Young men who came of age in this environment were met with outright hostility.
Yeah, to some extent. He's over-exaggerating it because he himself is on the right, but being introspective, we do have to admit that there is a messaging problem within progressives, and sometimes when their messaging is not going well, when people are not leaning in their direction as hard as they want them to, they do get a little scoldy. Now, is being scoldy a reason to go hard right in your politics and in your voting? Heck no, absolutely not. That's weak-minded stuff. You should vote for whoever's policies are best, regardless of how snobby or how rude people who advocate for those policies are. So he's kind of got some points, but he's also over-exaggerating how bad progressives are and over-exaggerating how cool Trump is among the young people. Young people do not like him because the economy is starting to tank. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next video.